Hello everyone, and this is the Beyblade X episode review time, and make sure to check out mallofbays.com because we have probably some new X stuff left over and plenty of Beyblade Burst stuff. Please check it out. It is an optional way to support the channel. It helps keep the channel alive, and I appreciate any support regardless. And for those wondering about Sphinx, whenever we get our shipment, we'll start shipping, so maybe the Monday, probably, most likely. It just depends when. So, moving from there, we get to our episode. So, part of this episode, they're basically talking about how Phoenix Feather is making this huge fuss, and obviously there are a lot of teams that are going through the X Tower, right, that are making quite a bit of fuss. Now, Team Persona is one of the few popular teams that is climbing through the tower. I also do like a lot of the little logos. You got like a little bunny rabbit with like carrots, whatever. That's some cool shit. So basically going over Team Persona, they recap all the characters, and obviously they're mentioning, oh, okay, when you're climbing to the top of the X Tower, you know, the top floor, there's Pendragon. I do want to say this shot, the proportions don't look right. It feels like it was just meant to be like the top half and not the bottom half. Okay, anyways, when they're talking about Bird, they're like, oh, and there's also Kazami Bird, who has not won any battle yet. And then after they move on, right, because Bird's not popular, right? And they need to increase the popularity because even though the popularity is increased, I think it's some absurd number, like 100-fold, you know, look at this, like, he's still very, very not popular, he's still, like, very, very, and, you know, it makes sense, right, for his popularity, so they're gonna do kind of this whole thing with, I think you have to, like, make, like, a new product, and then after you spar in battle, so, you know, it kind of, obviously, it makes sense with the base sponsor. And the loser, right, the loser has to try out the Sushi. So, Multi is creating her Sushi stuff, and it's Common X versus Bird. Bird does try to attempt to go for the Extreme Dash. I do want to say the episode is kind of mixed, by the way, in terms of visuals, you know. There's some times when I think, oh, that's pretty cool, and other times I think, it's about average. It basically chases after Drawn Sword, so I do like, actually, that I feel the issue when you kind of see the Imitation Extreme Dash and kind of just showing that. I feel like with Bird, you never really kind of, like, what makes it the imitation, you know what I mean? And I feel like this is, like, the best way they've kind of shown it visually, because he messes up the pattern. And Common X, I do like this cut here. It's not, like, crazy animated, whatever. They do, like, a nice little shaky cam, a nice little motion blur. The impact frame on this with the CG roof looks very, very nice. I do think this is a reused shot, and if it's not, someone correct me. I just feels reused. If it is, then as expected. Haha. No, I really did notice it. I was like, because I remember the Sphinx episode, and I think, is it from there? So, if that's true, they got the bank animation for when he's losing. So Common X wins, and then after they're trying out the products, they got like this whole like sushi theme thing. Like, I think this one's like, is it sweet potato? I'm pretty sure. He's basically trying it, so he basically gives the criticism, and so does Mako. And then after, I do like this reminds me of Anya from Spy Family, which is going like gone, and it's like shock. So she basically like, well, I'm not a sushi chef. I am a bake crafter. And we finally see Night Shield. Aha! We see Night Shield after this long. It's kind of funny because in the manga you only really see Lance after that, but in the anime it's like it's Shield and it's Lance, and we see more of Shield finally, which is pretty cool. So it's her versus Bird, and Common X now has to try to create a sushi product. And you know, listen, I like the scenario for this, and you know, there's some pretty cool shots here. So when the battle commences, basically he's trying to aim for the ratchet. So I do like, you know, here and there, when they try to incorporate this type of strategy, you know, it's nice when you kind of see Bird kind of go through this. I would love to see more of this direction of actual strategy, kind of. And also just, you know, a little bit more variety. Like, okay, he's attempting on the thing, but what else is he going to do? So she goes for the Extreme Dash. I gotta say, this cut looks really, really good. The end shot's kind of whatever. I think the end shot's a little bit weak, but the start shot looks really, really good when she's posing. Like, really, really good. She does her extreme dash with shield, which is pretty cool, and wins with like a shield bash or whatever. Bird has to try Common X's product, and basically it's like this whole thing where it's like, okay, well, why don't you try X's Sushi? Because they keep trying to battle and they don't want to try it. Poor Bird. Want to try Common X's Sushi? So, something I do find funny is that when Bird actually gets started, you know, you have like the little jokey face, then you have like the JOJO face. And he's like crafting it really well. And obviously it's like, wow, you have like a talent for this. There are very few that can actually do this. So, you know, listen, you know, this is like a nice little episode. It's a nice little episode because Taisho likes it. Now you actually do get a flashback with Pendragon with Common X. Credit to Kyo for this section for any translation. So basically the context here, X is basically giving Chrome the jewelry before the final X-Star match, and Chrome is asking X after the match if he'll stay by his side forever. I mean, it was kind of similar conversation to previously too when they gave that flashback. So yeah, they're very good friends, huh? They're very, very close friends. Yeah, they definitely... This was definitely a pretty cool section of the episode. I like it when we see more and more of kind of like the backstory with Pendragon, or, you know, like more of the flashbacks of like the original team he was a part of. Interesting actually is Shiguru, she appears, and she's basically saying, you know, Common X, like, what are you doing there? And I kind of like that they already kind of set this up, because we see her appear in the latest Beyblade X chapter, but obviously, you know, there's a limited amount of pages, all that stuff, so it's kind of nice to see, like, they add these scenes kind of building up, because eventually she's going to come. Now, I'm kind of wondering if she's going to appear after all the Yggdrasil stuff, or if it's going to appear right before the Yggdrasil big battle. That would be a little bit interesting to see if they shift around the event slightly. And then after next week, we finally see YUNI, and very excited to actually see where they go for actual character, because we kind of nothing to go by. This shot looks really bad. That one looks really bad. They put like some glow. I really had how they insert the base and everything in this. Aside from that, okay, epic. Okay, so I said in terms of characters, so I do have like a rating system, whatever. I think it's on 18. I gave the guide. I'll give it like, for all the characters you utilize in this scenario, we'll give it like a 4. Or I said 3. I know after reviewing, I'll say 3.5. You know, for the overall story and all that stuff, I think it's fine as 3. You know, it's the most interesting part of this episode is just kind of connecting part of Chrome. It's not really like this episode is insanely relevant to the overall story, but I think it does fine. In terms of the animation, I'll say 3. I think it's average. I think there's some pretty good cuts, but it's definitely better than last week for sure. Battle, I said... The battles, I said 3. They're kind of just basic this episode. The CG and the VFX, I gave it like a 3.5. So then after you can add it up, and that's my score for this week. So, yeah, aside from that, I think this week's a lot better than... I think last week was awful. I think there's no denying that. Like, it was really bad. But yeah, next week seems pretty cool. Very excited for that. I think this episode was pretty good filler. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was a nice scenario, you know, a nice little humor and all that stuff. And yep, here's hoping X develops again, and hopefully we go up and we don't go down again. And that's kind of it for this episode. Very curious to see how they're going to handle YUNI for next week. Let me know your thoughts and the predictions in the comment section. Hopefully I get Sphinx today. If I don't, then I guess it's Monday. Probably Monday. Anyways, thank you for watching. Take care. Have a fantastic day. And that'll be it for now. Bye.